Welcome to the OIC, otherwise known as the Omnipresent Information Connection Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Peterson.
And I'm the co-host, Noah Hansen. The Omnipresent Information Connection Podcast is all about your world and your unique walk on this path called life. We present fascinating, life-changing information from around the world that has been validated. We also authenticate the information by providing you with links to where you can find out more about what we are talking about on our show. This podcast includes genuine facts that have helped shape our daily lives into what they are today. Welcome to another edition of the OIC podcast. We've got a very special episode for you because this is the fulfillment of two other past episodes. The first one was authentic intentions. The next one was smarter goal setting. And that SMARTER is an acronym. And this is what goes into that smarter goal setting. Specific goals, measurable goals, achievable goals, realistic goals, time-bound goals, emotional, and rewarding. That is what the smarter goal setting acronym is. And in this episode, we are talking about the fulfillment of those goals that were set in the smarter goal setting episode. So bringing all three of these episodes together in one place, we'll have a playlist set up for you where you can just listen to those three episodes specifically to get your intentions set, your goals set, and finally your goals fulfilled. So if you want to sit back and pour yourself a cup of coffee, pour yourself a drink, and just relax and listen to us talk about how to fulfill your goals in a way that works. If you'd also like to, you can get out a pen and paper right now. Just pause this episode so that you can write down all the tips that we're going to be telling you in this episode. So let's get started.
All right.
So what does it feel like to you when you have a goal fulfilled, Kevin? This is important.
Hello, Noah. It's nice to be back on this podcast.
Hello.
So, your question is?
My question is, how do you feel when you have reached a goal, when a goal is fulfilled in your life?
When it's achieved or just reached?
When it is fulfilled.
When it is fulfilled, you emotionally, physically, and spiritually feel whole. You feel complete. You feel like you've actually achieved something that most people would try to be able to postpone you in or to be able to stop you in being able to fulfill today. The reason for it is because people want you on their level so that they can be relatable to you. But when you hit those goals and those plateaus, there's new opportunities that await you at each and every goal achieved.
Yes, and we want your goals to be able to be something that both benefits your life and other people's life, but it needs to be deeply personal to you. And that's the reason I asked how you feel when you fulfill those goals, because oftentimes people fulfill a goal and they don't even have a mini celebration. But the way that we want you to be able to reach your goals is for it to feel like this. Am I right, Kevin?
Absolutely.
So that should be a celebratory feeling, even if it's just a small goal fulfilled in your life. It needs to be deeply personal to you. It needs to be something that inspires you to be able to fulfill.
And a lot of times, the smaller the goal, the greater the reward.
Now, is that because little goals lead to big goals? Is that why you're saying that?
It leads to more confidence. It leads to more belief in you. It builds all these emotional, physical, and spiritual factors in your life in a new way.
I like that. I like that a lot. So one important aspect of fulfilling your goals is actually biblical. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because we cannot fulfill our goals on our own power. Right, Kevin?
Correct.
We need some sort of intervention, some divine intervention. And the reason that I say this is because not only in the Bible does it say that in his heart a man plans his course, but the Lord determines his steps. It also says that every good gift comes from heaven. There's not a gift that you can receive, a goal that you can fulfill that does not come from heaven. So there needs to be some sort of spiritual connection to all of this. Whether you're a spiritual person or not, it is deeply spiritual when you have fulfilled any goal in your life.
Absolutely. And you have to understand, listeners, is that the reason why it's so important is because it starts to be able to will literally transform you into who you were meant to be in the first place.
That's right, because the actions throughout your day are a reflection of who you are internally.
Mm-hmm.
So that's powerful. Another powerful aspect of fulfilling your goals is being able to tell people about it. And we always talk about accountability partners on this podcast. And that's such a key aspect, because if you don't tell anybody about these goals that you're trying to fulfill, that you're trying to reach, then you're never going to have that accountability partner if you're not telling anybody. You don't have any conviction to fulfill them besides the conviction that comes from yourself.
Correct.
So whether you're telling God about your goals, whether you're telling your family around the dinner table, and we'll go a little bit more into this later in this episode, or whether you're just telling a good friend, have an accountability partner that's going to help to keep you on track and make sure that you're taking the steps that need to be taken in order to fulfill these goals. So it's not just on your own power again.
Absolutely, because it's a win-win situation when you share your victories, your goals with other people.
That's right. So let's talk a little bit more about how we can be inspired by the goals that we have set in our lives. We've already went over the steps or the key aspects of setting a goal, and that was in the Smarter Goal Setting episode: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time-bound, emotional, and rewarding. And the inspirational part about fulfilling your goals is the rewarding aspect. It's that reward that you're going to receive, the outcome that is going to be reached by fulfilling these goals. Sometimes the rewarding aspect of a goal being reached is what happens because of that goal. It's a environmental change. It's a greater sense of self-empowerment and a greater sense of just knowing who you are, like you were just talking about.
So let's talk more about that environment.
Okay. So what is an environment that has shifted or changed because of a goal being fulfilled in your life, even though this goal wasn't something that necessarily was an inspiration to you? It was more of that environmental change that was.
The environment, when you're accomplishing anything, is more than euphoria. It's more than just, wow, I'm glad I accomplished it. It literally is more on the line of you are connecting with the power and the authority within your spirit to be able to resonate with that goal or dream being achieved simultaneously together.
Right. So if you are, for example, doing a piece of homework and one of your short-term goals is to get an A on that test, that test may not be inspirational for you to take, but what we need to focus on is what is the outcome of that step, of that goal being fulfilled. The outcome would be some sort of career or life purpose that you are striving to achieve that literally determines part of who you are as a person. So focus more on the outcome, that career being fulfilled, more than, oh, I don't want to take this test. I need to pass this test. I'm stressed about this test. I need to pass it. Focus. It'll be much easier for you to motivate yourself to study for this test, for example, if you are more focused on the career that is going to be coming from this one step in that path than the test itself.
Correct. And Proverbs 16:9 says, "In his heart a man plans his course, but the Lord determines his steps."
So how do you feel about that?
I feel great about it, because when you allow Proverbs and 16:9 specifically to be able to resonate within you, it's a heart math movement forward. And what I mean by that is that you're not only connecting with your heart, not only are you resonating that positive energy within your vessel, but then you're being able to manifest it to other people, and that becomes very attractive. It becomes very emotionally, physically, spiritually joining with those people that resonate on that same level with you.
Yes, because Proverbs 16:9 basically says that we can't do it on our own power. It's an empowerment verse because we know that in order to be empowered to achieve and fulfill a goal, the Lord needs to determine what that is going to be,
Yeah.
how that's going to be reached, determines his steps. So every step being taken towards that goal is determined by the Lord.
And here's the beautiful part about having a God-centered life is accountability. When you are telling God about your goals that you have, God manifests and radiates those goals only for the good of God, only for the good of you, and only for the good of those people around you. So if a particular goal or a dream or desire isn't wholeheartedly positively manifested, God will redirect your goal and make it even a smarter goal than the goal that you had set previous.
That's right, because not only does a man heart plan his course, but the Lord determines his steps. So if we are not meant to reach a certain outcome that we are planning, then the steps are going to be taking us in a different direction, but an even better one than we had originally planned. And you may just be surprised when you give your life to God how many goals are reached without you even having to lift a finger.
Absolutely, because you no longer, from that day forward, are doing anything alone.
That's right. That's right. So that accountability partner can be God, and in fact, it should be God because he already knows the outcomes that he has planned for you. So be inspired. Understand that that inspiration is a gift from heaven in itself. And when you feel that inspiration, the more that you can connect with it throughout the day, and in the way that I was talking about earlier, where you're not focused on the test, but you're focused on the career, be inspired, and that inspiration will manifest more and more throughout your daily life. The closer that you get to your goal, the more that inspiration is going to be a part of who you are, not just a short-lived feeling.
Let me ask you a question, Noah.
Yeah, what's up?
If Paul Revere never got on a horse and became the message bearer to all the world, how differently would life be today?
Well, that is an interesting question. But I like what you're saying here. What you're saying is that one man can change the course of history.
One man, one woman can be able to change the entire course of history by authentically pursuing a goal in a worthwhile way, right?
Yes, and it wasn't only for him. It was also for every single person that he was warning that the British were coming.
Absolutely. So you've got to be able to be a Paul Revere and revere against the troubles, the trials, the tribulations that can come your way. You've got to be able to literally get on that horse and ride. You've got to be free-spirited. You've got to be able to have the freedom to be able to want and desire to be able to not only let other people know about what is to come, but what can benefit them on a daily basis by doing it.
That's a golden nugget. So, when we are being a Paul Revere and we're warning other people about different negative things that could be happening, we don't want to ignore those negative things. Not only should we warn other people about them and help other people and assist other people in overcoming them, but we also need to do that for ourselves. So don't ignore something that is in your way. Don't ignore something that you know is preventing a goal from being reached. But it's important to focus and have a good portion of your focus on what are the things that are holding me back. What are the things that are not allowing for me or someone else to reach their goals in life.
So imagine if you got on a horse and you started going from community to community. My goals are on the way. My dreams are on the way. My desires are on the way. Proclaiming it, right? So many people are not proclaiming the victories in their life in the right way.
Right, because that's another step in the smarter goal setting is being time-bound. Don't say someday, maybe eventually. actually set a date for when this is going to be achieved, because then you have more conviction and you're just more motivated to get it done.
Yeah, listen, time is a slave, and we all know it. That's why we go to a just over broke opportunity called the job, right? Mm-hmm. So if we understand that time is true slavery, we got to be able to bend time. We've got to be able to will the time into our favor so that we can be able to have these accountable, achievable, absolutely awe-inspiring, dreamable things come to life in a daily basis. Even if you haven't mastered it, but have come to the knowledge and the awareness that it's within you to be able to do, proclaim it.
Yes, and that's why inspiration is another super important part of fulfilling your goals. Because if you're not inspired to get something done, you're not going to take those times when you are regularly relaxing and actually reaching a goal in those times instead. You're going to continue relaxing because you need that time off. You need that time away from the job. You need your time away from the hum and drum of daily life. And it's almost like an escape. But your escape, when you are inspired about a goal, your escape is actually being able to escape the slavery of time and instead work towards achieving and fulfilling the goals that are going to free you.
Well, yeah, manifest positive outcomes in other people as well as yourself in the same process.
Yes, and we all know that the truth will set you free. We've all heard this in our life. And the truth is important because you don't get to ignore those things that are holding you back anymore. You know the truth about those things, and you know that they aren't good for you. So you know what you could be doing instead of those things. And I'm not saying that you can't take any time to relax throughout your day. I'm not saying that you can't take any time to have a little bit of repose in your life. But when it is something that is a practice that's holding you back from the truth of what's going to free you from that slavery, and I just did quotations with my hand, but that slavery of time, that's important. It's important to be able to know what's holding you back again and instead put something in place, put a daily practice in place.
Yeah, because listen, we spend a great deal of money and time in getting an education, but having very little master over any of it.
Right, it's just information.
Imagine if you were to be able to manipulate time by no longer worshiping it with excuses. What if you had the ability to eliminate excuses the very moment that you could come up with the solution? It's the same amount of time coming up with the solution than it is being able to address a problem.
Yeah, so let's go over what we've covered in this episode, because one is the biblical aspect. In his heart, a man plans his course, and of course this applies to women too, but the Lord determines his steps. That's Proverbs 16:9. Having an accountability partner, being able to tell God or some good friend of yours or a family member about the goals that you have planned for your own life. And then having the inspiration that's going to allow you to connect with the motivation to achieve those goals instead of doing something that would maybe hold you back. Instead of taking time to relax, take time to be inspired and visualize the future outcome of that goal being in place. Don't wish and hope that you were already there. Be inspired by what's going to be happening once you do get there.
And then finally, you must have a daily, what some people call a dream board, some people call a goal board, some people call a wish board, but my board is a reality board. Things that I know that within my ability, within my empowerment, within my wherewithal, I can be able to achieve getting that house, getting that car, getting, whatever materialistic item that you're wanting. But then the next thing is then being able to get that career instead of having just over broke job, to be able to then advance and to be able to, if you're single, to be able to get married, then from getting married to having a family and then moving forward from there. All these are positive baby steps in the right direction if you know how to be able to apply it in a new way.
That's right. So don't focus on your shortcomings unless it is just to be able to replace those shortcomings with something that you know you could be doing in order to take the baby step towards that goal. Don't be getting down on yourself for not already having achieved that goal. Allow yourself to resonate with who you want to be, who you will be, and how your life is going to transform because of that goal being reached. It needs to be inspirational. And so with that, I think we've covered all the key aspects of what it takes to fulfill a goal in your life, no matter what that goal is, mentally, physically, spiritually. It's something that's going to change your entire environment in life, something that's going to change who you are as a person and allow you to be a better you, allow you to be the best you and the authentic you today. Anything to close with, Kevin?
Yes, if you want to be able to reach out to us and to be able to talk to us one-on-one, we're giving you the confidence and the ability to be able to do so. All you have to do is go to inanewway.com and touch one of the links below that can be able to connect to us today to be able to get you on the right pathway to prosperity today.
So we'll see you there. Thank you for listening.
This has been another life-enhancing, authenticated podcast aired by the OIC and brought to you by the faithful OIC sponsors and contributors. Please tune in every week and subscribe to our podcast. And while you're there, explore our website with all the posts, videos, and podcasts that we have created with you in mind. While you're on the journey through our website, you will see our Patreon page where you can become a faithful contributor yourself with the freedom to be a part of our team today. Thank you.